Alright YouTube, so today I'm seeing the movie Thunderbolts, the new Marvel movie. Like I said in my trailer reaction, or trailer review rather, which came out for the Super Bowl's Thunderbolts trailer, that, I felt this movie would be very Guardians of the Galaxy-like, in the sense of sort of like combines characters that, we don't really know too much about, at least in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, sort of not the A-listers, but rather much lower characters, but bringing them together for an A-list movie, which I absolutely love that concept. I think it's brilliant, and this movie's concept does remind me a little bit of Suicide Squad, but that movie was pretty bad. I haven't seen the Suicide Squad, but I know it's much better, or so I've heard, but I don't doubt it's much better. But this isn't about DC, so we'll talk about Marvel more. I'm really excited to see all these characters on the big screen and all these unlikely heroes work together, because this movie also sort of gives me vibes of Rogue One, which a Star Wars story, which was a great movie, and I think this might be the best sort of Suicide Squad style movie since Star Wars Rogue One, if not even better than Rogue One. But until then, I'm going to go into the movie and give you guys my spoiler-free thoughts, but wanted to give this monologue beforehand. So until then, thank you guys. Stay tuned for my thoughts. Alright YouTube, so I just got back from Thunderbolts. I'll say this movie definitely lived up to the hype, and I'm really happy that it was such a well-received movie and is going to be such a hit at the box office, as well as a good new kickstart and almost like a soft reboot for the new phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I'm definitely more hopeful and optimistic in, because admittedly I hadn't followed too many of the other series or storylines like in between, sort of after a few movies. But point is that some of these characters I recognized but couldn't really tell you much about because I hadn't watched their previous movies. But now I'm definitely more motivated to go back and watch or even read more comics on them, so definitely 2 thumbs up for Thunderbolts for that. But outside of that, I thought this movie was very heartwarming, a lot of heartfelt moments, very funny, but not over the top, great action, and above all else, I think this movie kind of reminded me of the Arrow series, but with a Marvel Cinematic Universe budget, which is definitely a step in the right direction, because I really like Arrow, but admittedly, like, some things were kind of lackluster or could have been better, so it was interesting to sort of see how I would have imagined it to be taking place on the big screen. But also, I love how these characters were such, like, reject characters, and everyone calls them losers, but they ended up saving the day. And I mentioned this will be a spoiler-free review, but I will say that the ending definitely caught me off guard, and the post-credit scene was the longest post-credit scene in Marvel Cinematic Universe history, I believe, and definitely has me super excited for the next movie. So overall, great movie. And something else I want to mention is I'm excited to draw more of these characters and maybe even get the Lego sets, because I think this was just such a brilliant movie, and have nothing else to say except actually one last thing, that I think this movie was definitely the best Suicide Squad style movie sort of dynamic since Star Wars Rogue One story, and that's high praise for me. So until then, thank you all so much for watching. Look forward to more movie reviews. Goodbye.